What's up, YouTube? We're back with another episode of What the Hell Am I Doing? And this week, we're here, well, actually not this week, but this Sunday, we're here with an episode of Growing Like a Champ. And like I promised yesterday, I would take you for a tour of my garden, where it's at today, and show you how to do transplanting. If you've never grown before, or if this is your first time growing, it's important to know how to transplant peppers, or any kind of plant for that matter. Not once, but numerous times during the growing stages if you started from seed, and eventually to the final home when they're gonna go outside or wherever to, whatever you're growing, depending what it is, they always have a final home. That was hard to spit out. But yeah, so I started my peppers inside in small pots. It is now the May 2-4 weekend in Canada. It is the official start of summer, basically. And this is when everything makes its way outside. And like I've been explaining in past videos, you have to weather things to the sun, to wind, to the conditions they're going to see in nature. When things are ready, it's time to put them in their final home. Some people put them in the ground. I personally prefer to put them in pots above ground, because the pots will get, the soil in the pot will get hot from the sun and will retain that heat overnight. Whereas in the ground, you're not going to have that same sun effect after a certain level. And not only that, I get to control the quality of the soil in the pot. So I know that that growing base is going to be not too hard for the roots to penetrate and grow through, which will obviously encourage better growth and give me better yields in the end. So that's why I decided to go with pots, and that's a good reason to do that. Or another thing people do is above ground garden beds, where they basically build a box above ground and fill it with soil. That's the same effect. The sun's going to heat that soil up more, and that soil will be a little bit better for especially plants like peppers that like warmer environments. So I'm not going to blather on too much here. Why don't I take you out back, and I'll give you a tour of what's going on, and I'll show you guys my process for transplanting, and just a couple important tips that you should know, especially if you're a first-time grower, or maybe even if you're a seasoned grower. Maybe these are new tips to you. So before we go out back though, make sure you subscribe, click that thumbs up button, and leave some comments. Tell me about what you've grown, or what you're thinking of growing, or if you even care about growing. But make sure you comment, and make sure you hit a like button, and make sure you subscribe if you have not, because I want to keep this thing growing, and obviously I need you guys to do that for this to keep growing. All right, let's go out back and take a look at things out there, and give you some advice that I can give you. All right, so we're outside. Like I was saying previously at the start of the video here, I'm going to show you what I'm doing real quick. So I've got some gardening to do. It's May 22nd, I think. This is the first long weekend of the summer, basically, and here in Canada, that's when you're supposed to do your gardening. And right now, as I speak, it's starting to rain. But yeah, so I've got a couple peppers left here, and over here is the entire garden. Well, garden of pots of all my peppers. Now all these are in Pro Mix all-purpose mix. It's got fertilizer for 9 months worth of feed, which is good. I was using vegetable and herb last year and the year before, but I couldn't get any this year. I believe that had 3 months feed. So I'm expecting good results from this, maybe even bigger results, I'm not sure. It's good soil, doesn't compact, doesn't attract bugs. It's got perlite in it. It seems to have a decent amount, so drainage is good. I highly recommend it. And as you can see, there it is, sitting over there. So what I like to do is, before I put all this in the pot, I like to break it up in the bag. Obviously, this comes like a big brick, so it comes right to the top. So at the top, I start to comb it and break it down, and then I transfer it over here to my bucket. And what that allows for me to do is basically lay it out easier and keep everything nice and even, so you don't have chunks and open spaces. You got a nice even growing surface for everything to grow through. So I break it all up in here until it's like this. As you can see, it's nice and broken up. You don't want clumps, you don't want chunks, and this will be easy to pour right into the pot there. And then what I do is compact it slightly. You don't want to compact it too heavily. This stuff is hard to compact too heavily anyways, but any type of soil, you don't want to compact it too heavily, or the roots won't be able to grow. So I highly recommend dumping it in, broken up like this, and then compacting it slightly. Okay, so I've dumped in some of the soil here now, and I just want to show you it's all broken up, just like this. Put your hands through it, dig through it, make sure it's all broken up nicely. And then when you're done that, pat it down, have a nice even surface. I like to bring it up so there's a couple inches below the rim here. I like to bring it to about these lines here. So you have a little bit of watering room. That seems to be about the right amount of water you have to put in. When I say compact it slightly, see what I'm doing here with my hand? That's it. That's all I recommend. Just pat it down a bit. It's got some give. It'll grow nicely. So here's a new bag. Like I said, I break up the top layer. Good amount down, I start dumping it down in the pots. This helps you. It's an extra step, it's early on. It's not much work. But it goes a long way towards getting your pots filled properly so the plants can grow properly. So I highly recommend doing it. Okay, so now your pot is filled up, so now you have to dig out a little spot to put your plant. So I like to do it dead center. And what I do, it's not packed too tight, so I just dig it up with my hand. And I just kind of put the dirt aside, just like that. And I just pack it down a bit in the middle. That's about the depth I want it. Actually, this one I'm going to go a little deeper. I'll show you why. This plant here is a little bit long in the stem since the leaves fell off a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bury it a little bit deeper. And this is also something you could do if you had a plant that was leggy as a seedling and the stem is long before the leaves start. Just bury it deeper. That stem will eventually grow roots out of it into the soil, and it gives the plant more support to bury it deeper anyway. So what I'm going to do is bury this deeper to hide some of the pointless stem down there. Okay, so she should slide out. If they don't, you just squeeze around the bottom gently a little bit to loosen up the dirt. I already have. So this should just drop. Yep. Okay, so what I like to do now is I'm going to put this in the hole. Just like that. You can kind of gently squeeze the base if your roots are a little bit more wound up and compacted. Mine are not, but if they were a lot worse than that, you could gently squeeze the ball a bit and break them up so they can hang a bit, and that'll allow them to grow better. But in my experience, so far it hasn't been very necessary to do so. So this isn't quite deep enough because I want to bury that stem a bit. So I'm going to just put that aside for a sec. I'm going to dig a bit more out. We're also going to account for the fact that I'm going to push it down just a bit. Okay, so put that back in there. Yeah, that's better. So now I just knock the dirt into the hole around it. Gently just fill it in. Now I'm going to compact the plant down a bit. I just kind of put my finger around the stem and push the old ball down into the plant a bit. Or into the planter, I mean. And then just kind of gently comb everything around, even it out so it looks proper and so water properly absorbs evenly. Anderson's trying to steal the old planter there. Get out. Okay, there he is. Hey, buddy. Say hi to everybody. Okay, so as you can see, that's a little bit lower. I don't want to go too low because some of those nodes where the leaves fell off will grow new stems and new growth. So I want that to be able to shoot up because usually shoots come out from the bottom on these plants. But there you go, that's what you do. That plant is properly planted. Now I'll gently water it. I'm not going to soak it because there's not going to be root growth down low for a while. So you don't want it to be too wet for too long. It encourages the roots to grow for water. This is everything I have transplanted as of now. I have a Leviathan. I have a chocolate Moruga scorpion. 2 yellow Moruga scorpions. Another Leviathan. This corner here, these 4 We're all Trinidad Viper crossed with purple boot. These 4 here are all ghost pepper. And these 4 over here are all reapers that I call Pickering Reapers. Well, there you have it. That's the first look at my garden as it gets set for its final stages over the next few months outside. As you can see, I've got a lot of plants to deal with this year, and I hopefully gave you guys some important and valuable information on how to transplant plants easily and safely, and to have most success from those plants obviously afterwards. These things will work for me, and I'm not trying to overcomplicate things for myself, so hopefully I will make things easier for you if you follow my tips. I appreciate you guys tuning in this week to see my garden and to see my tips on what's going on. I did great on my picks last night, so I won't have to do punishment next week, but I might do some more picks next week, and I still have a review that I need to finish and put out, so maybe I'll even work on that this week to get it done for next week. But in the meantime, I appreciate you all tuning in to both these episodes this weekend, and I'm considering doing a live tomorrow, so keep your eyes out if you're off or if you're around, and join me and chat and have some fun. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe. Check out yesterday's video where I picked the fights correctly last night, and check out this random video here, and we'll see you again soon when I do my next video. Thanks for tuning in.